And welcome to Moving Iron Podcast number 261. This edition of Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by
Axon Tire, helping dealers move more iron for the past 100 years. For more information, go to axontire.com. You know, Casey, Axon is always up to all kinds of cool marketing stuff. What are they up to now?
Well, they're going to stop you from walking into the wall at night.
Awesome.
Because they're going to give you away a free Firestone flashlight.
Ooh.
All you have to do is send an email to marketing at axontire.com, and they'll send it to you. All you need is your details, your name, first and last name, address, and tell them the Moving Iron Podcast sent you, and they will send that to you in the mail. So just send that to marketing at axontire.com, and you will no longer be lost in the night because you're going to have a super sweet Firestone flashlight.
You can see light in 23 degrees.
I like that guy.
There you go.
Woo! My tire tread guy. This guy.
You know who else the podcast is brought to you by?
Who?
Valley Transportation. They've been in that hauling ag and construction equipment business across the country for the past 33 years. For more information, call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours.
Right on. And I mean, I guess no matter how you want to buy your ag equipment, because I know you like to buy ag equipment.
No matter.
That's your thing.
I do.
And whether it's from a dealer, an auction,
like
or a private party, guess what? AgDirect can help you do that. They can help you finance that, right? All you got to do is go online, agdirect.com, and fill out the financing little questionnaire right there, get pre-approved, all those kind of things. And you can also learn about all your financing options at agdirect.com. So check that out, agdirect.com, for all your financing needs. Make sure you go and check that out. So, Aaron.
Yes.
There is a fair amount of stuff going on right now. We are in the heat of the planting battle right now. The heat of the planting battle. And, we've talked about sprayers, we talked about planters, where those things are at. Typically you go from spray season to planter season, back to spray season, and then you kind of work your way through to harvest, right? And we are knocking on the door of wheat harvest. That's not that far away. If you are listening to the Kansas Wheat Tour, might not be much of a wheat harvest. Wheat harvest might not happen this year, but there are pockets of the world where wheat harvest is going to be a big deal. And it's going to be a bigger deal around the world because of what that looks like. But one thing we don't really talk about here very much in very much detail is it's just the platform head and corn heads and those kind of things, heads in general for combines.
Right.
It is it's an odd year. I mean, obviously it's this time last year we were watching corn heads sell in April.
Yeah.
And we were watching platform heads sell in December. We were watching all these things happen. And I mean, I guess as you take a look what's going on, as you look at the combine head marketplace, where's that bright shine spot, right? Because you don't see anything. Everything's just kind of a low burning ember out there. It's not really like a big beacon out there someplace.
And that is because if you think Kansas wheat is bad, drive northwest.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you think Texas bad as wheat, keep driving north.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll see wheat that's bad.
Yep.
Here's what I can tell you. As I would say probably the top 10 dealers that I work with that are custom harvester dealers. Okay. We like to, I should say not we, I like to mention them because that's the anomaly in the farm equipment business.
The anomaly. Yeah.
Farmers buy X amount of tractors. Even your 30,000 acre fleet guy buys 12 tractors, 2 or 3 combines.
Sure.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Johnny Harvester buys 12 combines. That's it.
Right.
They
12
get
combines. 12 combines, but
24 heads.
24 heads. I think,
or 36 heads.
Depending on what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
At least 30, But here's what I can tell you. And this is probably the biggest mind boggler to me. And this is so regional specific. So Bowen and Vandervoort, you guys over there, just bear with us.
Yeah.
I have never in my life seen rigid draper headers be impossible to get.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
The top 4 dealers that I have reached out to buy heads and have reached out to me to buy heads. And it's usually in the same day. And it's like, well, obviously one of us isn't watching the internet because one of us wasted an email.
Right.
There aren't any.
Right.
Where'd they go?
It's tough. It's a tough market right now.
Last year it was corn heads. This year it will be corn heads, but just late model low hour. There's a lot of mid-range sixes, early sevens. They're out there, but as we're talking right now for the bread and butter of us, okay?
Right.
We've talked on here at nauseum. Our combine run isn't August. It isn't even year end.
Right.
It's May and June.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because all of our in-area combine sales are wheat based.
Sure.
I feel like the majority of surrounding dealerships, AORs, is wheat based.
Yep.
Because when I get my straggler calls from Tejas to North Dakota, they're now. I don't get calls in September or August. I get them now.
Yep.
And there's no wheat. There just isn't.
Right.
I don't know where they found that 39 bushels in Kansas. It was obviously just south of KC. It's obviously 913 Kansas, not 620.
I think to me, the one thing about the combine head thing, right? If I got a new combine coming, hypothetically it gets delayed, hypothetically, right? All right. See, I did that hypothetically. Hypothetically, it gets delayed, right? And you have my combine sold to, whoever, Johnny Appleseed over there is going to come get my combine,
right.
Take it off, and I sell it early, right? More than likely, you've got a combine. I mean, even though the market is shrunk a little bit, and I'll have a combine for you to use. More than likely,
right?
It might not be what you traded me off, but I mean, you'll have a combine to use.
This is a combine.
You know what I don't have for you to use?
A tractor.
Well, I don't have a head.
Exactly.
I don't have a head for you to use. Right. So with all these different heads that are out there right now, where year and compatibility and all these different things come into play, it's not so much that whatever hanging off the front of my combine is the software that comes with it compatible with the combine that I have to use it with.
Right.
That's a whole nother bag of worms. Now, can you update the software to make that work? Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's not
to
free.
an extent. To an extent.
Right.
I can't take a 9500 and make a 712C run on the front of that. It's not going to work, right?
Well, it won't lift it.
That's for sure. Won't do that. But there comes a point in time where that software update only goes back so far. Right. Then you start looking at what you just brought up. Compatibility of is it even able to pick it up?
Correct.
Because there's an S670. One S670 sitting to another S670. If it doesn't have the right hydraulic lift arms on the feeder house, it's limited to what it can do.
Right. Yep.
So that's a whole nother thing.
Exactly.
All right. And so if you look at that from that overwhelming perspective of what you see happening there, knowing what you have for heads and what that looks like is going to be a bigger deal. So one of those things that come into play is as machines have gotten bigger, of course, you want to it went from being 35-foot flex drapers were kind of the cat's meow.
Yep.
To 45 to 40 foot, I don't want to say 45 ever took off and run, but the 40-foot head.
45 is less hated.
It's less hated now than it was 5 years ago.
When you're in the machinery business, it doesn't have to take off and run. It just has to not be hated. That's the fine line. If you can get somebody to not just close their ears when you say 45,
right,
you're good.
Yep.
The biggest thing, back to the wheat quick, the biggest thing that I have noticed, they usually pile up because they're very regionally specific or especially farming practice specific, we have none. Shelborns.
True.
Shelborns are the hotter than hot thing on earth, or you cannot give them away. And we have none. And I will say this, for the last 3-4 years, hot. Not an issue ever.
Yeah.
Rigid drapers pile up through the last 4 years. If I pile up, 5 instead of 2.
Right. Exactly. I think the one thing about the draper head, I think the flex draper has grown in popularity.
Oh yeah, tremendously. And that's what's killed the rigid draper for the last 5 years.
Right.
But now this year, and that's what's funny, especially where we're dealing with such short wheat. If it's going to make a head, it's going to be this tall.
Especially in areas like, take Kansas, for example.
Yeah, Western Kansas.
So much of that wheat that's in Kansas goes back into double crop soybeans.
Right.
So you go in, you plant your wheat, you cut your wheat, and right behind the combine, they're planting soybeans right behind that. I had when I was working down in Kansas, there were plenty of guys that were like, I got a rigid draper head or I got a rigid head, right? Rigid auger head, and I've got a flex draper to cut my soybeans with. And my pitch to them all the time was, why don't you just upgrade your flex draper, lock it rigid, cut your wheat, and then you go, and I got 1 million. Oh, it just doesn't do the same thing. It's just that.
I don't want that many acres on the belts. And I don't want to do that.
You need to cut the wheat this far off the ground, dude. I mean, you could leave it flex and just run all that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, what
I probably would this year.
But
that's your best bet.
It's one of those things where that idea of that whole, flex draper and what that looks like, that's really evolved from the I need 3 heads. I need a corn head. I need I'll take that. I need a row crop head. I need a rigid head to cut my wheat with, and I need a flex draper to cut my beans with. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the 4-wheel drive thing, where it's more from being just a high horsepower tillage, pull to it's a workhorse on the farm now. You're tilling, you're planting, you're grain carting, you're doing all these different things.
Our 9470R nowadays does what our 4440 did in 80.
Yep. So it's become more versatile than anything else, right?
Right. Regardless of color.
Yeah.
So doesn't have to be red and black to be versatile.
But if you look at it you start looking at your flex draper and you start putting it in perspective. I mean, there's so many varieties of canola now that are direct.
Yeah.
Start looking at even doing simple things like that you would have done in the past with like an all crop head or something like that, but like Milo.
Right.
A lot of guys are direct cutting that with flex drapers. I mean, blocking it rigid and just going through and just sawing it down. I mean, it's just so many things are starting to come into play there.
Well, and then you take, so you go from Rapid City down to, say, San Antone, in a line. Add an extra head into that mix. It's called an Arrow Milo head.
Okay.
Like the Arrow conversion on the old.
Okay, yeah.
Because the all crop heads, they're old enough to have grandchildren, man.
Right.
They haven't been around for a few years. So that Arrow thing is super huge.
Right.
And the best thing about that could have ever happened is the old used combine or corn head market.
Right. Yep.
You had an old corn head.
The old 1293.
Yeah. Show it to a dude in Kansas.
Yep.
Go on.
Yep. That's exactly right. There are a lot of 1293s I saw that got that conversion on them. They were like, today they were, $4,500 heads, and now they're like $28,000.
Right.
So it's amazing how that.
But they'll do one of 3 jobs really well.
Yeah, and I think that's the big difference when you're looking at those heads. I mean, that there's so much stuff that happened on the farm now when you're looking at just from an efficiency standpoint.
Oh yeah,
because of what stuff costs. If I'm going to spend $100,000 on a head, I can't really limit it to one thing.
Right. Well, and then you get into your dollars per investment that you're talking about, and then your regional. Okay. A 2000 say like a 2012 612 with a brand or like a 500 acre on it, aero conversion is worth a lot more to us than it is Brent.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Nobody.
He'd
and
be
I
like, what am I supposed to do with this? I'll be like, oh my God, I'll give you 3 corn heads for that one head.
Right.
I'll take it.
Yeah. There's somebody out there like freaking
what's that?
Distilling Milo to make whiskey? Or what are you doing out there? It's one of those things where you've got.
Is that what we grew in the 40s to get through the war?
Right. When you're that's the one thing about that too, is you look at that. I mean, when you're in true like hardcore corn and soybean belt, I mean, like we grow corn and we grow soybeans, and that's that. I mean, you obviously have 2 heads. You got a draper head, a flex draper head, and then you've got a corn head.
Yep.
You get to places like out here where we're at. I mean, that flex draper head might cut 5 crops.
Yeah. Well, not only that, and then you have corn head,
right?
Flex draper that cuts crops, 5 crops. You have a rigid draper. You have a pickup head.
Right.
You might have another rigid head that's a draper that is set up to swath, and you use your combine for it, because we grow 500 acres of millet. We'll just knock it down with the combine. It's not that many hours. That's the world we're in.
Yeah. It's definitely a different style of
lifestyle.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, so
it's a different process.
I think the flex draper is an underestimated.
Oh, it's machine. The number 1 head.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, I feel that's a good place to stop, Aaron. Folks want to reach out to you, get more information about what you do. What's the best way to do that?
Well, there are several options
like that.
Blessed friend. Call me, text me, 308-760-1193. Pretty active on the ag Twitter at Aaron Fintel. Also on Facebook at my name. It's the same. Or you can shoot me an email, aaron.fintel@movingironllc.com.
Right on.
And Casey, where can we find you, sir?
Everywhere at movingironllc.com, except for LinkedIn. It's Moving Iron Podcast. And if you want to go to the Moving Iron Podcast YouTube channel and subscribe, that'd be freaking awesome,
because there we go.
So check that out over there. You can see what Aaron looks like. You can see what I look like. You can see what every guest on the Moving Iron Podcast looks like.
I apologize in advance, but we are live in living color.
So check that out. If you're interested in coming to the Moving Iron Summit, check that out, movingironllc.com. Upper right-hand corner, click on the Moving Iron Summit link, or the icon up there in the right-hand corner, and it'll send you to where you need to go to get all the information you need. If you need more information about that, send me an email at movingironpodcast@movingironpodcast.com, and I'll be sure to get back to you, Aaron. That is one of my, I love good. I mean, I put it on and it's stressful and it's a lot of work and all that stuff. But man, I tell you what, it's one of the highlights of my year.
It is my favorite thing of the entire year. Yeah. Quite honestly.
It's 3 days where I get to see people I've never met.
Right.
2, I haven't seen in a year. And 3, that I've only talked to on the phone.
Exactly.
Right. I know them, never seen them.
Might have their number memorized.
Right.
Might know their email address by heart.
Right.
And now you get to sit down and break bread.
Right. And so I think to me, it's one of those things where you get that opportunity to really network with everybody that's around you.
Absolutely.
You get to talk about stuff that's going to happen in the year. And you got guys like Sean Hackett that's going to come on and talk to you about all the funny things that are going on in the world with some 3-letter acronyms that are talking about all the great stuff that's going to happen because of sunspots and whatnot. But the thing about him, he's not been wrong very often.
No.
And
correct.
We're talking like, for example,
fantastic human.
Cold, wet winter, or cold, wet, early spring. What do we have? What do we have so far?
Cold, wet, early spring.
That's right. So Sean's one of those guys you're going to learn a lot from. And Rich Poston's going to be there. You know, if you listen to the podcast, you know, he's going to be there. So if you're a dealer of any kind, I don't care if you're a jockey, a short line dealer, main line dealer, green, blue, yellow, black, pink, fuchsia,
red,
whatever, check it out. Well worth your time to come do it. So if you want more information about that, like I said, hit me up at Moving Iron Podcast, movingironpodcast.com, or go to movingironllc.com. upper right hand corner, click on the Moving Iron Summit podcast link and the summit link up there, and you'll be able to find all the information you need. So with that, I am Casey Seymour with Aaron Fennell. Let's go smile, folks. Out.
Moving higher in the 21st century.